Good Thursday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the Internal Combustion Engine Age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and SUVs and motorcycles, the pond, the tractor, the pool, Kiefer, the camper, the world views. Hey, here's an Ice Age TV sticker. And if you want to share the channel, reach out to me on iceagetvcomments@gmail.com and show the sticker on your car, truck, motorcycle, whatever it be. Send me a picture of what you got and share the channel. iceagetvcomments@gmail.com. I just sent your sticker out there, Michael, in Kansas. Kansas boy, that was my father-in-law, where he came from. Sadly, he passed years back. But here we are on the Thursday morning adventures, overcast, a little cooler, temperature's down a little bit. As always, hey, thanks for tuning my channel. Appreciate all the support. I really do appreciate all the support. Those that watch my channel, the great comments, the funny comments, the different views and ideas. That's what it's all about. I'm just trying to radiate back to others when I feel you and I think on the same level and we're all okay, or are we? Yeah. I'm sure some would say, yeah, I don't know about you, Mr. Iceman, but I'm okay. So here we are, heading over to the barn. Another day, me having a ride around the world, get the kid, Brian, the new employee, going. And yesterday was a hot day. Woo, hot day. And I cut the grass yesterday at the other part of the property with a zero-turn mower. And it was like cutting dirt. But all the little fine, grass, it gets out of control, if you know what I mean. You go out here and start cutting grass, and it doesn't look like it's very long, but it is. And like I say, it's so dry cutting that grass yesterday. Oh my gosh. You just inhale all the dirt, all the debris. But the zero-turn mower, it's the best unit you can use to cut grass for being fast and efficient. And so I got the property looking respectable, even though it just blows me away and how I'm gonna have to spray all my driveway, all my property again because of the doggone weeds and grass are overtaking everything as usual. Camper's great. I'm the lone man in the camper. And here we are inside the EV Age. Yeah, you traitor. Ice Age, the EV Age. Had to plug her in last night and charge her up. I got a lot of driving to do today. I got a 250 mile day. This will barely make it, in all sincereness. I'm not lying. This is about a 260 mile highway truck. And as always, here's the dogs. Wanting to get upstairs, and Kiefer wanting to harass them. And, the kitty cat. I think I got a kitty cat living in my barn, but I don't know. Debatable. I saw one night. It seems like something gets in the trash, but not so much last night. Did some other animal get it? That happens, I'm not lying to you about that I've had cats in my property, and the vultures and the others, the animal, a fox could get it. I know from years ago, down at the gas station, a woman that worked there, she had a Pomeranian, and I used to have a Pomeranian. I've had 2 Pomeranians in my lifetime, believe it or not. First one was not my idea of a purchase. Second one kind of was, but so this one lady down here at the gas station, a fox killed her little Pomeranian. And the reason I'm bringing this up and I haven't told you the word of the day yet, have I? And I thought to myself, the word of the day will be support. I think that's a great word. We haven't had that conversation yet. Monday was hair conversations. I think that was kind of lame. But it was about Donald Trump missing a bullet by a hair. And then we went to the security conversations on Tuesday, to the voice conversations on Wednesday, to support conversations today, just because I'm watching the RNC convention. And I thought that was a really good word that I haven't used in my YouTube channel, of the many words in the English dictionary. Of all the words I try to come up with, I take one word and try to take that and relate it with the cars, trucks, motorcycles, the state of times. But back to the cats. So back in the early 90s, my first wife and I she was a cat person. So we had like 2 or 3 cats. And so over the years that, eventually the relationship was sour and I remarried. But the stray cats would still show up on my property. So back like in 1998, this really cool multicolored cat showed up on my property. And back in the day, that front addition of the house was really just a little front porch, probably maybe a quarter the size of what you're looking at today. And in that little area, I actually set up a little area for this cat that I found. that I figured, I just put it in the front room there, and we kind of kept it closed off because it looked like it needed help. And I had the cat, and this is no lie. So I let the cat out, and then the cat would come back. And over time, eventually the cat never came back. And I was very intrigued and very concerned because I was giving the cat, food and water, but it was more an outdoor cat. I didn't want the cat living in the house like my other cats. They pretty much were inside cats. And my second wife, the wife I'm married to today, she just isn't like she isn't really the cat person. So it was really more about, if we keep that cat in a little area and keep it outside, that'll be great. So I did that. Now the cat disappeared. Now a good friend of mine that used to come to my property and fish a lot, and he would be in the neighborhood a lot, driving around. He used to cut grass for a lot of neighbors here. One day I ran into him and he said, "Hey, did you notice your cat's gone?" And I'm like, whoa, what are you saying? He's like, "Do you know your cat is gone?" And I'm like, "How do you know that?" He's like, "I saw your cat walking across your property from your house, like over towards near your barn, and this is before this barn was restored. It was just a big old open barn that was going to the ground." And he goes, "I saw this big ass like hawk come down and grab the cat and took off in the air with it." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yes." He said, "But then once he got so far up in the air, he dropped it," which that's a tactic for birds to kill an animal so that they can have them for their prey. So he said, "Yes, I saw that cat." And he described the color of the cat. And I'm like, wow. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I was so sad to hear that." So yes, a hawk picked up my cat, flew it up in the air, dropped it, killed it, and then swooped back down and took it back to wherever it had its, it's a prey. Wow. How did I get on that subject? Well, it's because I saw a stray cat when I was in the camper here like a week or two ago, walking around my area here. And I've noticed here lately that something's getting into my garbage. But last night, it doesn't seem like the cat came around. So now, you've got a lot of things going on my property. So now the question is, did something get that cat? That's very possible. Yesterday I was cutting grass, and man, a snapping turtle was going through the creek right when I was taking my lawnmower back from the one side of the property to this side of the property, and I'm out embellishing. That snapping turtle was the size of this table over here. I'll just give you an idea of how big. People that are into turtles and all, see this table right here? That snapping turtle is every bit that size. So he was crawling out of the creek down there as I was coming back with a zero-turn mower, and then he actually walked across the creek on this side of the property, and then he kind of jetsons back into the creek through all that rough grass there. Love the pool. That pool is such a blessing. Wow. Yikes. Okay. So anyway, so the support conversations, I thought, wow, where are we today on the support? We know more than ever that the support for the green agenda has been at its all-time high to a degree. I'm sure all of us would argue with that, because even though the green agenda is the biggest thing of the conversation and talk these days, I think the support is waning. I think more and more people are really questioning, is it really what it is? But that's this city administration's agenda, is the support for the green agenda advances of everything from the cars to appliances to your lifestyle, your food, everything on the support side under this city administration is at the highest ever in our lifetime of the change that's being pushed upon society. And I talk about it all the time on my channel because it's called Ice Age TV. And I think to myself, on the Democratic side, the support is at the highest level ever of the EV age. But then when you go to the conservative Republican side, it's the Ice Age that supports the Ice Age. So it's two totally different support systems. And that's what I got to thinking last night when I was watching the RNC and J.D. Vance got up there. I'll tell you what, J.D. Vance, very sharp, dynamic guy. I mean, in my eyes, he's about the sharpest VP I've seen in modern times of a conservative GOP or a Democratic personality. I mean, he really is. He's a very credible story. Definitely Trump picked a guy, but boy, tell you what, Donald Trump's got a guy that he's got to be careful on, because, Donald kind of gets that. I know people, you have different conversations of Donald Trump. He's like the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because one person will tell you he's the nicest guy in the world. Next guy tell you he's the biggest jerk in the world. So it'll be interesting to see, should those two be nominated to be the president and vice president, their relationship, how that plays out, because this guy's a pretty straight line guy. If you really hear his story, really incredible story, but you can just see this is a straight line guy. He just doesn't play around. He doesn't so I think he's a great guy. Could he be the future president? He definitely has the credentials as far as his personality and as far as his smarts, but is he too far right would be the challenge. I think that's his challenge. Is he's very conservative, he's very family oriented, and I would suspect he's religious. And I just think that the challenge for him is going to be on the left. I think they're going to attack him of being too far right. So he'll be the radical guy in so many people's views. So there's a fine line there, trying to make the country happy. And then here's the support for Joe Biden. Joe Biden seems to be waning. As many know, if you're watching the news, that Joe Biden now has COVID once again. How many shots does that guy have? Yeah, right. I mean, so for Joe Biden right now, it's sounding like this guy may be stepping down. And then who would replace him? I mean, to think that Kamala Harris, I thought to myself last night, I would love to see Kamala Harris talk for 30 minutes like J.D. Vance did. I mean, I just can't see it. I don't see Kamala Harris having the smarts and that personality and the true stories of the true beginnings of where she came from and the hardships, and for her to be that, in my eyes, sophisticated. I just think, wow. So I just can't see Kamala Harris being next in line. I think somebody else is going to pop up out of the blue, out of nowhere, or it'll be Gavin Newsom or just somebody else. I just can't see, Kamala Harris being able to get the support. And for me, it'd be sad if we see Kamala Harris, because here's the thing for the Democratic Party. You need somebody dynamic that can kind of try to bring more of a level playing field, that we all can kind of see the same thing. And that's what J.D. Vance last night was saying, is that once again, you can talk a lot, but once you get into politics and you actually get elected and you have to talk to all the other congressmen and senators, all your rhetoric kind of goes south because you have such opposing views and different views. But he definitely has more of the open arms personality in some ways, what he feels like, debate and try to make things work together. It makes sense. That's the challenge. So just like the cars and motorcycles, trucks, SUVs, that's us Ice Age people, where we try to make sense of what you hear so many times is, why not the hybrid setup? Isn't that the word of the day? In so many ways that you could say that this country needs to come to be a hybrid country, where we got the strengths and the weakness, or we have the strengths that capitalize on the strengths instead of continue to capitalize on the weakness. Because what's the underlying message? And that's what I thought, support. When you look to the Republican Party, what is their goal? What is their message? Why would a person that's Democratic minded want to vote for a GOP representative? And as you know, the media machine and so many have tarnished Donald Trump so much that the odds are a Democratic person's not going to, per se, switch their vote because they just hate Donald Trump. The media has told them that he's a piece of junk and he's the worst person in the world. So I just think it's going to be very challenging for Trump to persuade that Democratic-minded person to come the other way. And that's a huge challenge. But here's the thing. What you have to say to yourself is, where's the support? And that's the irony to life. It's incredible how us human beings will buy a brand new car, brand new truck, brand new motorcycle, whatever it may be in the automotive car world. And if you buy that vehicle and it doesn't do what you want it to do, and you don't get the support from the dealer or the manufacturer of that car, you instantly are out. You're like, there's so many people that I can guarantee can reach out on my channel and say, you know what? I bought a Ford, biggest piece of junk. I'd never buy a Ford ever again in my life. I guarantee you can get a guy who said, I bought a Chevrolet, and that thing was the biggest piece of junk. The dealership was lousy. Chevy didn't support me. The service end, blah, 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 blah. You can go through the list. But yet, when it comes to political figures in our country, and you just really have dominance of just two brands. I mean, think it through. We live in a culture of how many brand cars are there? How many brand computers are there? How many brand cell phones are there? How many brand tennis shoes are there? How many brand trailers, campers are there? You can go through the list of just all the different brands. But then when it comes to our country's infrastructure, it's just really two brands. The independent can't do it. The independents can't get money's siphoned off to them from the big guys to believe they can follow the agendas and get the big things done for big business. So the big guys aren't going to give money. Like Elon Musk. Elon Musk is now committed to his $45 million pack a month to Trump and the GOP, RNC. And so is he going to do that for the independents? He's not going to do it because he knows they don't have the backbone to get things done and to stay strong. So there's no support there. But the support system is all about money, which I just mentioned. Elon Musk, it's all about the money. It's always the argument that politicians should not be able to have money thrown to them by the big business, the big wealthy people, because that controls what the agendas end up being. So back to the point of the cars, it's incredible how a person will tarnish a brand of a car. They'll never ever buy one ever again, but yet they'll vote in a political party that in so many ways does the same thing. They ruin it. They've ruined the support in your community. They've ruined the support of how much money you make. You can go through the list, and it's incredible how a person will stay loyal to that brand just because it's it's a brainwashing thing. It truly is like a brainwashing thing that you got to vote Democrat because you grew up Democrat. You got to vote Republican because you grew up Republican. But when it comes to the end of the day, if you look at the support system, who's supporting what? And that's what's huge in the automotive and motorcycle industry. You hear the 5-star ratings, the 1-star rating. You hear about the constant people, all the manufacturers want you to do a survey. Were you happy at the dealership? You're happy with your car? But it's huge. That is huge for the industry. And like my friend John owns Motorcycles of Dallas. That guy is hell-bent on trying to keep his dealership a 4.9 or 5-star rating. He's hell-bent on it. If anybody makes a complaint, he personally reaches out and wants to find out what's going on. So he tries to constantly keep his Google reviews at that high rating to support his business. If you go on the internet and Google some restaurant, a gas station, an automotive repair facility, and that rating is very small, then that tells you that isn't a very good operation. So-called it does. And so a very small rating, it doesn't have the support by the infrastructure of people that believe that you should go there. If you don't, I'm sure everybody can relate with that you go to Google reviews, especially if you're out of town and you want to go to eat some restaurant, and you don't know to be in town, and what you pick, and you know as well as I do, I'm sure people have the same story I do. You go to this so-called 5-star rated restaurant, and you got to wonder how many friends are getting paid off by the 5-star restaurant owner to always make these stupid-ass great comments when the food sucks. Who doesn't know that story? But the point is, it's the support system. And here we are more than ever that the support system has been an incredible journey for the Ice Age. If you look at what's been accomplished through all the years of the energy needed to support the Ice Age, and it's a very big challenge. And it's a worldwide challenge because of all the oil producers that create the oil and the fuel to energize the planet for transportation and the needs of us humans to live comfortably and better than we did pre-oil and Ice Age and Industrial Revolution. And so for us Ice Age people, we've had an incredible journey of the infrastructure of the automotive manufacturing, of the parts network, of the service end. And sure, there's been failures. There's been good and bad. There's been fuel shortages. But overall, there's been an incredible success story and support, and the amount of monies that people have made through this industry has been incredible as well. And the governing bodies have stepped in to even support the manufacturing industry if it goes to dire straits because of the economy. But yet here we are on more than ever that the support system on the Democratic Party is more about the EV age, and it's now waning on the ICE age. The goal is to get rid of the ICE age. So the Democratic Party is all about eliminating the support for the ICE age. You've heard the 2035 deadline that in California, they can no longer sell new ICE cars. They can still sell used ICE cars. They can no longer sell new ICE cars. Same thing over in Europe. They're putting deadlines on, at this date, you can no longer buy a new car that's ICE driven by 2035. That's 11 years away. It may seem like a long time, but these, as you know, as you progress, 10 years goes pretty fast, which that's scary. Now, here's something very interesting on another green agenda challenge in our world is the particles from our tires and the brake dust from our brakes. So over in European Union, they're creating a G7 green agenda bill law that is going to start forcing the hand that these manufacturers of all these tires and all these brake pads have to design a different material, a different way that these tires are getting matter on the roadways that eventually gets into the waterways, eventually gets into the ocean. So it's called particles, and it's a major problem. I actually read about this a little while ago. And so there's new green agenda laws that are happening around us that are now focused on the tires. And I think to myself, wow, how does that transition with the electric vehicles, where electric vehicles are heavier vehicles, and the particle matter will even be worse because you hear the stories right now that these heavy trucks and cars wear out tires faster. So that means you're getting more particle matter to go off to the road. The little rubber, as you know, your tires wear down. Well, where does that rubber go? Well, it goes to the road. And eventually it goes to the side of the road. And eventually in the rainstorms, it goes down the drain system, which gets into the waterways, which eventually gets into the ocean, which is creating economic, or I should say creating environmental havoc in our Mother Nature Earth. So yes, the next big thing that they're going to start going after is the tire manufacturers have to figure out how to make a better tire that doesn't let the particles come off the tire so easily, and in the end ends up polluting the world. And then the dust or the brake pads, same thing. It just doesn't end. Doesn't end with us, mankind. So that kind of isn't really the support conversation totally. But once again, watching the RNC, it's interesting. They even make comments last night that if you're a Republican and you nominate the Republican Party, their goal is to keep you in a gas car. Their goal is to let you continue to drive a gas car. And once again, I think that it's easy to say all that. I think that if Trump is elected, I think the way I would handle things is you just can't take away the infrastructure that's been created, but I think you just roll back the timelines and you still support the electric vehicle infrastructure that's been created, but you also just kind of roll back how it has to be so rapidly fast and start pushing more of the hybrid gas battery relationship as well. And there's a lot of people that truly believe this battery electric vehicle thing is going to truly just not really last long term. Hey, Julia, do me a favor. Go upstairs and take reports because you guys may have a busy day. You may be doing a lot of driving. So if you can get up there. Morning, Brian.
How you doing, sir?
Say hi to the YouTube community.
How you guys doing today?
So, once again, back to the original conversation of support, you have to say to yourself, what is the underlying message of the Democratic Party versus what's the underlying message of the GOP? So it seems like, to me, and once again, it isn't to be me wanting to divide us as YouTube subscribers or friends. It is more about what's driving you, what drives you in life. And as you know, in life, you need support. What is support? Well, support is you go and get a job and you get paid to be able to support your life, to be able to have food transportation, roof, family, and that's that's just health care. So that's just the basics of who we are, that we need support, and we need to have infrastructure around us. As I was just saying, the gas industry, the oil industry has supported the ice age. Then you go to the road infrastructure this country has. You go to other parts of the world, it isn't like our country. People know that have traveled the world. You don't have these nice roads and gas stations all over the place, and car dealerships. And sure, you have them in I'm saying third world countries, more of the countries that aren't developed. It's very challenging, whole different lifestyle. So for you and I, here we are in our own governing body of our country, and the division is bigger than ever, I feel, and the views are bigger than ever, I feel. So what is the support? What are you going to get out of voting in the Democratic Party again? What are you going to get in? What are you going to get if you vote in the GOP party, Republican Party? So, and that's what I think to myself is, and those people on my channel, I love when you reach out and you make your own comments, what you see versus what I don't see, and that's a great thing. So for me, I think the support of the Democratic Party seems to have leaned more towards, more against us citizens per se in our country. And what I mean by that is, it seems like the support of bringing all the illegals to our country has been bigger, and for the support of the people here in our country, in some ways, hasn't been as good, because we're having to use so much money to support the illegals, which is taking away from those that need monies and welfare and well-being. And then you go to the wars. We're now supporting the Ukraine war. We're supporting the Israel war. So all the monies that are being supported, is it really helping our country per se? And then, the mandates of supporting that you have to change your lifestyle. You're going to have to get a different vehicle. The support of the interest rates were being forced to be raised because everything was getting too expensive. But yet, it's interesting in how, 3 years later, when the interest rates have risen to the highest level in modern times, but yet everything's still so expensive. So it's like the equation, in my eyes, it doesn't really work. It doesn't work that you have higher interest rates and the support of the so-called Democratic Party wanting to help the little guy, but it seems like the big guy is making more money than ever in modern times. Big oil is making more money ever under Joe Biden. Big business is making more money than ever under the Joe Biden administration. So it's kind of like, where is the support system? Is it for the little guy or the big guy? So now you go to the GOP party, and of course it's always easy when you're on the other side of the fence and you're not on the field playing the game to brag about what you can do and can't do. But it seems like the support under the Republican Party is more about back to the basics of our country and protecting our borders and protecting us, and not letting just anybody show up in our backyard, and not giving the message to the world that we're going to support you at no cost, at whatever cost it may be to you. So no cost to you, whatever cost to us, to come live here, whether you're, legal, illegal, as far as for what your activity prior to getting here, what you did and why you're here. And you just get to live the lifestyle here and write off the tax system without even contributing to the tax system. Then you get the right to vote without even being an actual citizen of our country. So it's like the support of the Democratic Party, it supports so many things that seems the demise of our country. It seems they support less law in cities. That's what you heard on these individual attendees who are getting up in front of the podium and speaking to the RNC, that they're witnessing their own backyard of how the crime is rampant and the drug use is rampant. And I'm not saying that wasn't there before. That isn't the message here. The message is, what they're saying is, by the new laws that these district attorneys have created with politicians, there's not the punishment for these criminals as harsh anymore, and it gives it more ease for them to do bad things to others without the consequences. That's really what they're saying. Nobody's saying there wasn't crime when GOP was in. Nobody's saying that there are illegals. I mean, you'd be foolish to be saying that, when the Republicans in, there'll be no illegals. When Republicans in, there'll be no crime. No, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. No, they're saying what has changed under the Democratic policies is they've made things more lenient, and they've created more of the lawless cities, and literally even the open borders without the more of a, they're not as aggressive. And once again, it's easy to talk. You know, that's the thing about life. It's easy to talk about all the support. Who doesn't know these stories that people run their mouth all day, what they're going to do, next they never end up doing anything. So with RNC, tell you what, to see Donald Trump Jr.'s daughter, and then to see Donald Trump, his granddaughter, get up last night on the podium and talk about who her grandfather is, that was pretty incredible. I don't know about you, but you know, you can tarnish Donald Trump all day long. Once again, I'm not here to tell everybody on my channel that Donald Trump's the answer, but you have to give credentials and credit to the personalities that are around this guy and his children that are around this guy. And if you see a young girl like that get on a podium and present herself to an audience and a huge televised audience, and to keep her composure, that's a phenomenal, you know, can you do that? Could you get up in front of a podium and tell everybody your thoughts of your grandfather or your father or mother and hold that composure and be in that depth to be able to talk at that length? I mean, it'd be unbelievable. That girl was incredible. And that's the thing. You really have to believe that the grooming of the future woman president is right on our doorstep, because these younger girls are truly getting the social media attention, and they're getting the foot, you know, I should say they're getting ahead of their way they present themselves. And you just really do have to say to yourself, wow. And that's why I say Kamala Harris, hey, I'd love to see Kamala Harris hold a 30, 40-minute conversation that wasn't just like, huh? What? Yeah. Is that going to play out? Oh, my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yikes, right? So what is the support? Who supports us more? I mean, at the end of the day, who do you feel is going to support you as the average citizen in this country for the well-being? And that's where it turns into a whole argument that one person will say, but this Democratic Party is going to ensure that you have the right to do whatever you want to do with your body. The Democratic Party is going to support you to have free health care. Ha ha, really? When was that presentation made by Barack Obama? How many years ago? That's hard to believe. That was like 14 years ago? Is it more than that, like 2008? Yeah, just trying to run the numbers there. Yeah, right. 16 years ago? Wow, yeah. Free health care. No, health care is going to be cheaper. So the support system for the well-being of our country, which is it going to be? Which party do you think is going to support us? And that's when then you go back, like I say, it's easy for you to be sitting on the sidelines and the GOP to run their mouth and say everything's going to be beautiful, and they're going to do this and do that. But you got a lot of people involved in making those changes and laws. But at the same time, does anybody truly believe 3 years later that the support of this country from the city administration has made this country better? I mean, sincerely. I mean, and here's the thing. There's people who have made record profits in our country right now. So I get the individual that's invested in the stocks properly. They're extremely happy right now with the stock market being at 41 change and close to 42,000. I think they hit 42,000. So there's some very, wealthy people right now that went from a 18K stock market, and now it's, it's borderline, doubled plus to get returns. If you're the Green Agenda activist and you've got Green Agenda projects, you're extremely happy right now. I've said it over and over again. If you're the guy that's building technology for the wars, you're extremely happy. If you're the person that's building ammunition, you're extremely happy. If you're a gun shop owner, you're probably pretty damn happy because people are buying guns at an all-time high. So there's a lot of things that go for the support system to other people. But then on the other side of the equation for us, we're on the side of, well, how is this government supported me when everything's so much more expensive? And they're creating all these laws that make no sense. And their favoritism to the illegals over to the legals. How is that support to me as an individual? How is that support that in my own community, the drug use is rampant and the crime is rampant and the laws have been rewritten to favor the criminals? How is that supporting me in my life? How is it supporting me that the housing and rent is at an all-time high ever in this country to be able to buy anything or rent anything? How is that? How is it support that all the car manufacturers have jacked all the prices of all their ICE vehicles to support the EV agenda to be able to have a cash box to transition into EV vehicles by forcing you and I to pay more money than ever for all these ICE vehicles? So you can just start, the energy, the food costs. How is that supporting us? Besides, in so many ways, it is controlling us. And I think that's the message that many feel more than ever in our country is it isn't the support system that we are under now. It is the control system. More than ever, I think people would agree with me that this governing body that we have now has been the most controlling government in modern times. But yet their message always is to those that they want to stay on their side is no, the Republican Party will be the dictators, the Hitlers, and they'll be the ones that will take power of this country, and they're going to control you, and they're going to put you in prison, and they're going to go after their political powers. It's like, wait a second, isn't that what you guys are doing? Isn't that what you guys have been doing? I mean, so it's so incredible how what they're saying in so many ways is what they're saying that others are doing or what they are actually doing, but people just can't put those two together. Wow. I know, it gets heavy and deep, but here it is. It's the Republican National Convention. It's the week of this. Donald Trump, I think, is the last night tonight where he sounds off. So to me, it's an exciting time because you're hearing of new, fresh voices and ideas, and I think it's all giving us a glimmer of hope that hopefully we can get this country to kind of reverse direction for where it is and just get back to the basics and not have all this craziness that's going on around us, which I'm sure many would agree with. And it's always about the Ice Age. And for me, that's why I started this channel, because I see on how the Ice Age is trying to be taken away from us. And one day, will there even be an Ice Age? Yes. I mean, you go 50 years from now, 30 years from now, like my YouTube channel, will it just be vapor? Will it be gone, perished because of YouTube gets bought out and they just get rid of all the content that they had for years and years? Yeah, it's very possible. So that's it. I got to go to work. What am I doing today? I got to drive all the way up to freaking Bel Air, Maryland. Oh, my gosh. Long day for me. So, as always, subscribe to my channel. Share the channel. Help me grow my channel. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad to hear people are getting notices of me posting videos. And but at the same time, I get it. You don't want to be bugged all day long by me posting our videos. So I kind of get all that. So whatever works for everybody. And as always, thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day. God bless.